Welcome to the Bucket List Buster Travel Show. Your Bucket List Buster Travel Show helps you make your bucket list dreams come true. Host Karen Duncan spent decades running the travel business. She, along with other industry experts, share their knowledge, travel stories, and wisdom about how to travel, where to travel, and how to have a stress-free adventure. Tune in, give yourself permission to focus on yourself, create lifelong memories with families and friends, and finally learn to relax, rejuvenate, and reconnect. And here's the host of your show, Karen Duncan.
Aloha, buenos dias, ni hao, yahate, bula, guten tag, bonjour, jumbo, boa tarde, everything's Irie, and good afternoon. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome. This is Karen Duncan, your Bucket List Buster, and I am so excited to be doing this show with you guys today. If you don't know me, if this is your first time listening, my name is Karen Duncan. As I said, I live now in Panama, originally from Chicago in the United States, spent 30 some odd years in Texas. And I've been in the travel industry for over 24 years now, taught travel and tourism at a community college level. And this show is about helping you make your travel dreams come true, whether it's becoming an expat or discovering a new cruise or a new tour that you want to take or a destination, finding out about travel news and travel trends. We've got it all for you. I want to say hello to my audience out there. I love being able to see where I have listeners, especially as a person that loves to travel. To know that people from all over the world are listening to me is super, super exciting. So hello, Toronto, Canada, Panama City, of course, Chicago, my hometown, Sacramento, California, Vancouver. I'll be seeing you guys in Vancouver in about a month, a little over a month. Mexico City, Mexico. Hola. Holzgerlingen. Oh, I just terribly said that. But Germany. Welcome, Germany. Napa, California. Westland, Michigan. Love you guys. Oakland, California. I am super excited. And I've even got people in Indonesia, Hungary, China, and Sweden, United Kingdom listening to us. And I'm really, really excited about that. Today's show is jam-packed. So I don't have a whole lot of different topics for you today, but we have an educational moment. We're going to briefly talk about passports and real IDs and the importance of those. We've got Bryan Coates, who is the Business Development Manager of Oceania Cruises out of Florida. And then we're going to talk about solo travelers and some of the trends that we're seeing in solo traveling, which is huge. You know, people are out there traveling alone, and it's not just the millennials. So it's jam-packed, and welcome to the show, and I'm so glad to have you with me. So let's talk about traveling with a passport. So I was taking another one of my educational moments for myself. Every weekend, I try to get my travel education on, as I would say, and I finished my bachelor's and master's with Norwegian Cruise Line so that I can work towards my PhD, which is the top of the line, which means I went through multiple classes so that I could learn everything there is to know about Norwegian Cruise Line. And if you go to my Facebook page, Peaks Cruises and Tours, which is the company that I own, you will see all my badges, or at least most of them. I've got to update the website because I totally forgot about putting the new badges on there. But if you go to the Facebook page, you will see all the companies that I work with, my travel providers and suppliers that we work with. And so in doing the classes with Norwegian this weekend, I came across the importance of documentation, and I thought this might be a great opportunity to talk about this because it's coming up on summer travel season, which is a big time. And we've been talking about cruises the end of last month, and people always have this question, especially out of the United States, on whether or not they need a passport. So the deal is, you do not have to have a passport. It is not required if you are going to be traveling from the United States and back to the United States ports. So keep that in mind. But we highly recommend that you do get a passport simply for these reasons. If a traveler misses the ship at its scheduled U.S. departure port, you may need to travel outside of the country to meet the ship, and that requires a passport. Or if a traveler needs to unexpectedly depart from the ship from a foreign port, a passport would be required to re-enter the U.S. by air. Anything can happen. So not only does Norwegian strongly recommend it, but I strongly recommend that if you can, you should invest in a passport if you're going to travel. Just like it says, if there is a situation where you miss your port, say you're cruising out of Miami or Galveston, and you miss the plane, there's some difficulty with you getting to that port, anything can happen, traffic, anything. Don't cut it that close, but you know what I mean. And they have to fly you to your first destination or port, which could be Mexico, it could be Jamaica, it could be St. Martin's, anywhere that you would initially stop. They would fly you there if you've done your airlines through the cruise line. That'll be a totally another subject. So in order for you to get to that first port, to get into the country to meet the ship, you're going to have a passport. You will not be able to use just your driver's license and birth certificate to enter. And then there have been situations, and I have video of a man being airlifted by helicopter off of a cruise because he had a heart condition while he was cruising with us last year. And they had to fly him to the nearest hospital. Well, when they go to fly back to the States, in order for him to re-enter the United States, he has to have a passport. So it's very important to get a passport. Now, the other thing that I get questions about is, I got a call from a young lady, got contacted from someone who was about to come to Panama with her family for spring break, and she realized that her passport was going to expire next month. Well, the first thing is, your passport has to be valid for 6 months. You have to have 6 months, at least a minimum of 6 months left on your passport in order to enter international countries, or to even return to the United States for that matter. But she was trying to get her passport renewed within a 24-hour period. Basically, they were supposed to be leaving the next day, and she just realized it. There are companies out there that will help you fast track to getting a passport. It usually takes 48 hours, so 24 hours was impossible, unless she was willing to. She could have actually driven to Houston from Austin and walked this process through herself, I believe. Actually, I take that back, because I believe Houston doesn't do renewals, they do new passports, so that wouldn't have worked. But you need 48 hours. You can go through companies like Visa Central, who is a partner of Norwegian and myself. Visa Central can help provide passport and travel services at discounted fees, and they can get your passport to you very quickly. So if a trip comes up, that you want to take and you need to get it taken care of, or you need a visa to enter a specific country, because there are certain countries that Canadians, Americans, and others, Panamanians, will need a visa to be able to enter. Visa Central is out there and can help you. So visacentral.com, or their number is 844-834-5702. I'll put that information on the website and on our Facebook page so that you will have that information. Now, the IDs, second part of this, you can use a verified government-issued ID that has a picture on it, in most cases, if you're flying to and from a U.S. port. They have this thing now called Real ID, and it is a state-issued driver's license that has gone through a little extra evaluation. Most states are now a part of this Real ID program, but there are some states in the U.S. that are not. So what they have done, when you use your Real ID, you can use your certified birth certificate. It has to have the raised seal on it, and it can't be expired. So here's the information about U.S. citizens flying domestically must now have identification that complies with Real ID documents, which include the U.S. valid passport or no, state-issued enhanced driver's license with a photo, that's the Real ID, state-issued enhanced ID card with a photo. So some states have issued driver's licenses and ID cards that comply with the Real ID, but some states do not have those yet. So you need to check out your state and figure out if they do or not. I wasn't going to go through grabbing a list. I guess I should have, but I didn't. But those states have been granted an extension to the compliance deadline. So for now, air travelers from these states can continue to use their non-enhanced driver's license and ID cards, but eventually all states will need to comply with the Real ID. So that is the deal with passports and IDs, and I talked about this before on the show, but I can't hammer enough how important it is for you to make sure that you have your valid documentation. Just like we're going on a cruise next month, and in order for me to do my freelance excursion in the Russian port that we're going to stop at, I would have to have a visa. Otherwise, we have to do a cruise-sanctioned excursion, which is what we'll do because I didn't want to go through the time of getting a visa for this one particular stop. So that's it on IDs, and I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about this week's specials. We're going to have our speaker from Oceania Cruises, Bryan. We're going to talk about solo travelers. It's going to be a really great show. So hold on for a minute. This is Karen Duncan, your Bucket List Buster, and I'll be back in a minute.
At Sandals, we expected a 5-star luxury included vacation, but we never expected a private butler and an infinity pool on our balcony. We expected a choice of up to 16 gourmet restaurants, but never expected steak and lobster as much as we liked. We expected endless land and water sports, but never expected unlimited scuba diving and golf. Sandals Resorts. Get more than you ever expected.
To book your Sandals Resort, contact Peaks Cruises and Tours at 512-529-3696 or peakscruisestours.com. Welcome back to your Bucket List Buster. Karen Duncan here, your host, and enjoying this beautiful April day. Can you believe that it's April already? Oh my God, the year is going by so fast. It's so fast. So this week's specials, and with that, with it going by so fast, you better book your summer vacations if you haven't already started planning for the rest of the year. Travel is hot, 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 hot this year. Of course, it's hot every year, but it's people are really excited about going places this year. So this week's specials, what do we have? Well, we start out with Windstar Cruises.